Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to dive into something really cool, a powerful mathematical tool that businesses use every single day to make the absolute best choices. And we're going to figure it all out by solving a pretty delicious problem, how to run a chocolate factory to make the most possible profit. Sound good? Let's get into it. So let's start with a really basic question. Imagine you're the boss of a factory. You've got a limited supply of ingredients, a couple of really popular products, and one big goal: make as much money as you can. How do you figure out the perfect amount of each thing to make? It's not just guesswork, it's actually a science. Okay, let's meet our test case, the Wonka Chocolate Factory. They make two things we all love: dark chocolate and light chocolate. To do that, they need two key ingredients, milk and choco. But here's the catch: they don't have an infinite supply. They only have 5 million units of milk and 12 million units of choco. Dark bars make them 6 pesos a pop, and light bars make 5. So the big question is, how do they figure out the perfect mix to max out their earnings? Now, this whole chocolate problem, it's really not just about candy. It points to a much, much bigger idea called optimization. And this is basically the art and science of finding the absolute best way to do something, especially when you can't have it all. So what is optimization really? Well, at its heart, it's about squeezing the most value out of what you have. And you probably do this every single day without even thinking about it. When you're trying to find the fastest way to get to work or the cheapest flight for your vacation. Heck, even just trying to cram everything into your suitcase. That's all optimization. The specific tool we're going to use to solve our chocolate puzzle is called linear programming. Now, I know, the name might sound a little intimidating, but don't worry. Linear just means we're dealing with things that we can draw as straight lines. No crazy curves, no complicated stuff. It's a surprisingly straightforward way to solve some really complex problems. Okay, so to actually solve this, we first have to translate our real-world factory situation into the language of math. And it turns out every linear programming problem has 3 key parts that we need to figure out. First up, we've got our decision variables. These are just the choices that we actually get to make, the core questions that we're trying to find the answer to. So for our factory, this is super simple. Our decision variables are: how many dark chocolate bars should we make? Let's call that X. And how many light chocolate bars should we make? We'll call that Y. Finding the perfect numbers for X and Y? Well, that's our entire mission here. The second piece of the puzzle is the objective function. And that's really just a fancy way of saying, what's our goal? We just have to write it down as a simple math formula. For our chocolate factory, the goal is crystal clear. Make as much money as possible. Maximize profit. Let's call our total profit Z. So since every dark bar, X, makes us 6 pesos and every light bar, Y, makes us 5, our objective is just to make the number from 6x plus 5y as big as it can possibly be. And finally, the third piece. Every problem has constraints. You can just think of these as the rules of the game. They're the limits we have to play by. For our factory, the rules are pretty obvious. We only have so much milk and so much choco to work with.
So here are our rules in math speak. The milk rule. Since each bar uses 1 unit of milk, the total number of bars, X plus Y, has to be less than or equal to the 5 million units we have. The choco rule. Dark bars use 3 units of choco and light bars use 2. So 3x plus 2y has to be less than or equal to our 12 million unit limit. And of course, the big common sense rule, you can't make negative chocolate bars, so X and Y both have to be 0 or more.
All right. We've translated our problem into math. Now for the really fun part. We get to visualize it. We're actually going to draw a map of every single possible solution to find that one perfect sweet spot that gives us the highest profit. Here's our game plan. It's a simple 3-step process. First, we're going to draw our rules, our constraints, as lines on a graph. Second, we'll find the special area on that graph where all the rules are followed. And third, we'll just test the corners of that area to find our winning combination. That's it.
So first we draw a line for our milk constraint. This basically sets one boundary for what we can produce. Anything on one side of the line is okay, anything on the other is impossible. Then we add our second line for the Choco constraint. This sets another boundary. The real answer has to respect both of these limits.
Now, see this shaded area where all of our rules overlap? That has a special name. It's called the feasible region. You can think of it as our map of possibilities. Literally any point inside this shape is a production plan our factory could actually do. And here comes the magic of linear programming. This is the really cool part. We do not have to check every single point inside that shape. A really neat mathematical rule guarantees that the best possible answer, the one that gives us the maximum profit, is always hiding at one of the corners of our map. This saves us an unbelievable amount of time. So, all we have to do is check those few corner points to find our champion. This gives us our list of top candidates. So, which one of these combinations is going to give us the biggest profit? Let's find out. Okay, candidate number 1, 1 million dark bars and 4 million light bars. We run the numbers, and that gives us a total profit of 26 million pesos. Not bad. That's a strong contender right out of the gate. All right, what about another option? Mix 3. That's 3 million dark and just 1 million light. The profit there actually drops to 23 million. Okay, so mix 1 is still our leader. But we've got one more corner we have to check. And there it is. That's our winner. Mix 2, making 2 million dark chocolate bars and 3 million light chocolate bars, gives us our maximum possible profit, a whopping 27 million pesos. We found it. That is the single best, most profitable decision the factory can make. So, we solved the puzzle for our little chocolate factory. But you know, this powerful method is about so much more than just candy. This way of thinking is like a hidden engine that powers a huge part of the modern world around us. I mean, have you ever wondered how Google Maps finds you the absolute fastest route, factoring in all the live traffic? That's optimization. How do airlines figure out their incredibly complex flight schedules to minimize delays and costs? Yep, that's optimization too. From routing delivery trucks to building investment portfolios that balance risk and reward, linear programming is the secret sauce making our world run more efficiently. So the next time you're facing a tricky decision with a bunch of limits, whether you're planning your weekly budget, your workout schedule, or how to study for exams, just remember the chocolate factory. And I'll leave you with this question. What's one puzzle in your own life that you could try to optimize? Thanks so much for joining me.